guys, welcome to the Vertical Life Church online experience. I'm Kelly, and I'm so excited to welcome you to our global community. We want to awaken and empower you in your walk with Jesus. And so we're going to bring you some powerful worship and an awesome message. Check it out.
100, and it says, "Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth, and serve the Lord with gladness. Come into his presence with singing, and know that the Lord, he is God. It is he who made us, and we are his people. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving, and enter his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and bless his name." And I just love this. "For the Lord is good, and his steadfast love endures forever, and his faithfulness is to all generations." So as we come in this morning, first service, we did the same. I just want to enter in with thanksgiving. So if you would just begin to open up your hearts, begin to open up your mouths, and just begin to recall. Just begin to recall his goodness in your life. Just begin to recall who he is and what he's done. And he's faithful and he's true to do and continue the work that he started. Amen. So Jesus, we thank you. We thank you for the cross. We thank you for your blood. We thank you for your body that was broken for us. We thank you for your word that endures forever. We thank you for your faithfulness and your mercy. We thank you that you are just and true. We thank you that you are holy and that there is none other than you, Jesus. We look to you this morning. Come on, just let thankfulness, just let it begin to rise. Let's enter his gates with thanksgiving. You are worthy. You are holy. We look to you this morning. We welcome you in this place. Be welcomed in on our praise this morning. Be welcomed in our praise this morning. Be enthroned in this place, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Oh, with thankfulness we come. With thankfulness we come. With thankfulness we come. You are good and your love endures always. Just sing that out. Say that out. You are good and your love You're my peace. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Over me. Shalom, shalom, shalom. You're my peace. Shalom, shalom.
For from you are all things, and to you are all things. You deserve the glory. Come on, can we just lift that up this morning? You're worthy of it all. You're worthy of it all. For from you are all things, to you are all things. You deserve the glory. You're worthy of it all. You're worthy of it all. For from you are all things, to you are all things. You deserve the glory. You're worthy of it all. Yes, you are, Jesus. You're worthy of it all. For from you are all things, to you are all things. You deserve the glory. You're worthy of it One more time, you sing it out. You are worthy of it all. You are worthy of it all. For from you are all things, and to you are all things, and you deserve.
We're so glad to have you as a part of our online family today. We couldn't put on this experience without your generosity and support. If you'd like to partner with us as we continue to spread the gospel, there are 2 ways that you can give at Vertical Life. You can text any amount to 84321, or you can go to verticallife.info and click give. We believe that God has something awesome to teach us today, so let's prepare our hearts as we continue in our service with an awesome message.
Hey guys, so we're in this series in James where we're just, walking through this book, this letter together. And it's been awesome how, just measuring us, reminding us of what does it look like to follow Jesus. And that's what James is doing. He's just like holding us accountable, saying, hey, if you say that you're following Jesus, then your life should look like these things. And it's challenging. No one really wants to be measured. Not very many people want, like, hey, measure me. And that's what James is doing. He's measuring us, saying, hey, if you truly call Jesus your Lord, then there should be a change in your life, and it should look like these different things. And what he's ultimately after is our maturity. Now, what's interesting about that word maturity is often, we have our own definitions of what it looks like. Maybe it's age, maybe it's wealth, maybe it's independence. But what I would argue is that James is saying here is that true maturity is the imitation of Christ, that you are looking more and more like Jesus. Are you looking like Jesus? And I think that's the question that he's challenging all of us with. And so what we were doing, though, in this series, just to kind of bring you up to speed, is that we're going to stand every time we read that teaching text. And so I'm going to invite you to stand right now as we turn in James to read this with me. Whether you might have a Bible in front of you, or you may have a phone or an iPad, and if you don't have any of those things, then you can look at the screen behind me, or there's screens beside me. But we're going to be in a James chapter 2, verse 14. And we're going to start off there all the way to the end of the chapter. He says here, what good is it, my brothers, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can that faith save him? If a brother or sister is poorly clothed and lacking in daily food, and one of you says to them, hey, go in peace, be warmed and filled, without giving them the things needed for the body, what good is that? So also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. But someone will say, hey, you have faith and I have works. Show me your faith apart from your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. You believe that God is one. You do well. Even the demons believe and shudder. Do you want to be shown, you foolish person, that faith apart from works is useless? Was not Abraham, our father, justified by works when he offered up his son Isaac on the altar? You see that faith was active along with his works, and faith was completed by his works. And the scripture was fulfilled that says, Abraham believed God, and it was counted to him as righteousness, and he was called a friend of God. You see, that a person is justified by works and not by faith alone. And in the same way, was not also Rahab the prostitute justified by works when she received the messengers and sent them out by another way? For as the body apart from the spirit is dead, so also faith apart from works is dead. This is the word of the Lord. You can have a seat. Man, you talk about something that's challenging, right? He's already just starting off and just challenging us. You know, just like, hey, if you're saying you're following Jesus, if you're claiming to place faith in him, there should be something different about your life. And the reality is that, you know, we live in a time where it seems like, it appears to me that truth is held captive or determined by human desires, fears, or needs. And so in some ways you could say that it seems like truth is subjective, right? It's based on that person's desires or that person's needs or that generation or that culture. And that's not the case. And the result of that, and I think you would agree with me, of us trying to decide what truth is. It's subjected to our needs and desires and fears. We decide what good and evil is. It's subjected to our desires. I think what's resulted from that is it seems like society and culture has lost their mind. Anyone agree? Like it's like if you just turn on the news, you turn on social media, or you just maybe even talk to some people, you'll realize, oh my gosh, has the world gone mad? Has it gone crazy? You know, am I the only one? Like, it seems like it's, in some ways, it's just falling apart. And I would argue that's the result of humanity trying to carry and decide something that we were never designed to carry or decide, and that's truth in the definition of good and evil. That's a divine thing. And we've taken that from God and we said, hey, we will decide what truth is. We will decide what good and evil is. And it's led to, I would argue, like just this insanity around the world. And so what James is doing here, he's challenging us in that area regarding our faith and how we follow God. Because we do the same thing. We make it subject to our own fears. We make it subject to our own desires. What following Jesus looks like is based on what I desire in that season, what I'm facing in that season, what I'm approaching in that season. And James is saying, hey, there's no such thing as situational obedience, meaning that I get to decide when I'm obedient based on my situation. Because the people that he's writing to, they're spread out all over the place right now, facing very difficult times because of famine and persecution. And he's telling them, hey, just because you're facing difficult times does not give you permission to be disobedient or not to truly follow Jesus. And if truth be told, all of us, we kind of like to have that mindset of like, well, my situation exempts me from being obedient in this season. Like whatever you're facing right now. And James is challenging us by saying, hey, no, true maturity is looking like Jesus in every season and in every situation that you're facing right now. There's no such thing as justified disobedience. There's no such thing. And he's measuring us here in regarding faith. Like our proclamation that we trust and we believe in God. See, I think here what James's concern is in regards to faith is the perversion of the gospel. Like we make it out to be whatever we want it to be. Usually it's subject to our desires. And also, I think he's genuinely concerned about their salvation, about the status of their souls. Like, do you truly know God? Are you truly in relationship with him? And so he's challenging us in these areas. And you can see here in James 2:14 through 26, he's like, what good is it, my brothers, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? And he finishes that with, in verse 17, so also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. Like he's making an extreme statement, grabbing our attention. Like that grabs my attention. Like he's like, hey, I'm going to say something. I'm going to grab your attention. Do I have your attention now? You know, I like to do that in conversations. I like to say extreme things to grab people's attention. And like, hey, are you listening? But the reality is we do not like extreme statements because often what they do is they measure us. We would rather stay in the gray where there's no accountability, right? Because if you say, hey, this is what looking like Jesus, following Jesus looks like, and this is what following Jesus does not look like. You know, we don't really know if we like that. We want to hang out in that gray area. And I love what Chesterton said. He says that the devil has a favorite color, and that color is gray, like that neutral area. And so what James is doing is he's getting our attention and he's drawing the line of like, hey, if you're following God, this is what it looks like. I'm drawing a line. And I believe that we as a church body need lines drawn. And I think we're entering a season in regards to the world where Christians need to draw the line and plant the flags of like, hey, this is what following Jesus looks like. It looks like based on what is in here, not just what we desire in here. Like you got to draw the line. And I'm telling you, you can watch it right now. It's happening all the time. People are moving that line towards their own desires in their own fears. Would you say that? Like they're moving it. They're moving. Well, we knew that a biblical definition of marriage was between a man and woman. But what if, let's just move it a little bit. And the devil loves to do that. He loves to put question marks where God put periods. And so the thing is it's time to draw the line in these areas and hold to truths. And that's what James is constantly doing to us. He's like, hey, you got to draw a line to hold to the truth. And right here, he's doing it in regards to faith. And so he's telling them, like he's saying, hey, guys, your faith is dead. I don't want someone saying that to me. Which then begs the question, was it even real in the first place? Is it real? Is your faith even real? And what James is doing, he's calling a spade a spade. And once again, we don't like that, right? We don't want anyone telling us what to do. How many people are like, yeah, please tell me what to do when I wake up? I am the last person. I cannot stand when you tell me what to do. Like I think, I read this whole theory one time about how just America in general has like a rebellious nature because our nation was kind of birthed out of rebellion, you know, like, hey, we don't like you, we're going to start our own nation. And that's what we did, you know? And so the reality is I think that DNA is kind of in us a little bit. Like, oh, we don't like your version of following Jesus as described in Scripture. We will design our own. This is what following Jesus looks like. There's just this rebellious nature inside of us. And James is just like, hey, nope. I'm calling a spade a spade. If you don't do these things, if it doesn't look like this, then your faith is dead. The funny thing is, I guess it's not funny, but even Jesus, Paul, and John said the same thing. Like I have a slide behind me with these passages. You know, Jesus said, hey, you will know a tree by what? Its fruit. He didn't say, hey, it's like you might know. He said it's either good or bad, right? Good or bad, period. That's what he's saying. That's what Jesus said. And then you got Paul right here. Look, this is uncomfortable. He says, hey, examine yourself to see whether you are holding to your faith. Test yourselves. Do you not realize that Jesus Christ is in you unless what? You fail to meet the test. Pop quiz time. That's what today is. Pop quiz, guys. How many people like pop quizzes in church? Not me. It's a time where you're being measured. Are you really who you say you are? This is what James is doing here. So it's a pop quiz. And then John, Jesus' best friend, he says, by this it is evident who are the children of God and who are the children of the devil. Whoever does not practice righteousness is not of God, nor is the one who does not love his brother. I mean, he's telling us, right, hey, I can tell what DNA is inside of you, who your father is, by the way that you live your life. Like he's measuring us. It's evident. Because if you have the Spirit of God inside of you, there should be something different about you. It's offensive to say that the Spirit of God resides in you, but no one should expect fruit from you. And we get, well, you don't know what season I am. Oh, you don't know what's going on. Oh, you don't know. No, what do? We're justifying disobedience. And we're saying that the Spirit's inside of me, but he has no power to do anything within me. And James is saying, hey, is he even in you? Do you even have faith? Uncomfortable. And he's challenging you with this. And then notice what he says here in verse 18. There's a rebuttal. We all have rebuttals, right? We rebut all kinds of things. And he's saying here, but someone will say, you have faith and I have works. Hey, it's okay. You get your faith, or I'll keep my faith and you just keep your works. And he challenges and he says, show me your faith apart from your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. And notice this right here. He says, you believe that God is one, and you do well. Even the demons believe and shudder. And that right there, you believe that God is one and you do well. What he's confronting there is one of the most influential Jewish traditions. It was a prayer that they would pray in the morning and in the evening. It was called the Shema. It was part of a Shema prayer. And they would pray this. It actually comes from Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4 through 5. You may have heard it before, but it says, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all of your might. And so this was like a prayer of allegiance and a hymn that they would sing of praise to God. They would do this daily, twice a day. And he's confronting it. It's like, hey, you're doing your thing. You believe that God is one, and this is my response. The demons believe and shudder. And so he's saying, I love what John Edwards says about this. He's a theologian, American theologian in the early 1700s. He said, you know what? The demons had two things: sound doctrine and respect for God. But they did not have salvation. And here he is like, you say that you believe. That's your rebuttal. But I believe. Even the demons believe, and they shudder. And so you can say, this is uncomfortable. He's saying that you can say, hey, I got sound theology. It's sound. Like I went to seminary, know it all. Like I have it. And I have respect for God. But do you have salvation? He's challenging us here. And we like, as the Western culture, we like to know things and not become something. And we brought that mentality of learning into the church where we can recite all kinds of things and know all kinds of things. But who are you becoming? Like, is your life truly in submission to this? And so, even Matthew 7, Jesus even says that many people come to him and say, hey, Lord, 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 did we not do this in your name? Did we not do that? Like they had sound doctrine. They had all these different things. And he says, hey, I don't know you. Depart from me. And so he's like, hey, guys, it's pop quiz time. I'm asking you some questions. I'm challenging you with some realities. But what's your rebuttal? That you're right with God. What's your rebuttal that you have faith? Sound doctrine? Respect for God? I come to church on Sundays. I get goosebumps during worship. I read my Bible a couple times a week. Like, what is your rebuttal? And he's sitting us alone with this question. And we don't like that, do we? We would rather just keep our lives busy and active and a lot of noise, never sitting alone truly with the Spirit of God and allowing him to ask us these questions. But today's pop quiz. He continues on here. He says in verse 20, he says, do you want to be shown, you foolish person, that faith apart from works, it's useless. He continues on to give a few examples. And then in verse 24, he says, you see that a person is justified by works and not by faith alone. So wait, Jeremy, are you saying that I have to earn my salvation? No, that's impossible. And to make that statement, you're completely misunderstanding James's argument. Like, he knew what Paul's stance was. You know, Paul in Romans 3:28 says, for we hold that one is justified by faith apart from works of the law. Like, he was aware of that. He's not discrediting that. Like, he was with the council in Acts 15 in Jerusalem where they were trying to decide, like, all right, so what do we do with all these Gentiles, these people that don't know God and are coming to God or giving their life to Jesus? What do we do with these individuals? Like, what kind of requirements should we place on them? He was a part of that council. He knew exactly what Paul thought. And he was in alignment with that. That's not what he's doing. He's not disagreeing with Paul. He's saying that, hey, if truly the Spirit of God is inside of you, there should be evidence of that in your life. That's what he's saying. We do not like that. That is where he's challenging us. Hey, where is your heart at? What is the condition? What is the status? What is the state of your heart? You know, I would even say, you can have works without faith. Like, you can go through the routine. You can go through the things and your heart really be disconnected from God, but you can never have faith and not have works. You can't. There's so many people. There's so many dead religions and dead churches just going through the routine. Her heart is so disconnected from God. So you can do all the right things, but not have faith. But you can never, ever, ever have faith and not have works. Because I love what John Edwards says about faith, that faith is the desire to have friendship with God. And that changes you. Like, when you want to be a friend with someone, it changes you. And when you really want to be a friend of God, it changes who you are. And so if you don't have that desire inside of you for righteousness, if you don't have that desire inside of you for friendship with God, James is challenging the condition of your faith, the vitals of your faith. That's what he's doing. He's challenging us. Uncomfortable, right? Like, this is what I wanted to hear on Super Bowl Sunday. Yeah. Right? Jeremy, can we just move on? And let me get out this door. Feel good. Ignorance is bliss. What James is doing here is he's loving these people. And what we want to do here at VLC is love you by speaking the truth. Asking tough questions. challenging our lifestyles, holding each other accountable. And so if your idea of church is like, hey, I want to show up on Sunday with a 17-minute worship service that sings my favorite songs, that's more like self-help than worshiping God, about how great I am rather than how great he is, and move on to a little word that Tony Robbins could do, just telling me how good I can be, then this is not the church for you. And I mean that in a respectful, humble way. When we worship, it's not about us, it's about him. It doesn't matter how you feel. It's about him. And so you're going to be confronted with that reality every Sunday because we gather for him. And with teachings and sermons, like, I want to be liked. I like to be liked. Anyone, like, you wake up and like, I don't want anyone to like me. Maybe some of you probably. Like, leave me alone, right? But that's not me. So to come up here and be like, hey guys, like, are you saved? And to deliver these messages, it's not like, oh yeah, I look forward to doing this. Yeah, this is fun. James is brutal. But if I don't ask these questions, I'm loving myself more than I'm loving you because I want you to like me. Can't do that. And so James is challenging us with these questions. So as the worship team comes out here, I have one question for you. One thing that I want to ask you. That's it. Short, sweet message. Where are you? Where are you in your faith? Where are you at? How are you doing? What are the vitals? If there was a little machine that gave the vitals on your faith, where are you? Is it dead? Oh, we got life. Is it on life support? Like you're trying? Or is it live, vibrant, moving? Where are you at? That's what I believe the question that we have for all of us today, even myself, is like you can go through life doing routine and just your heart almost disconnected, right? You can almost like put it here and just go. Some of you, you're really good at categorizing your life. Like you just put it in sections. But following Jesus demands every area of our life. And it's easy to be just dead inside, but still going through the routine. And that's not how we're called to live. He wants friendship with you. He wants relationship with you. And true faith is that, wanting, desiring friendship with God. It's not about perfection, guys. There's nothing you can do to earn your salvation. Absolutely nothing. You can never be good enough. You might have a strong week, but there's a day of reckoning coming where you're going to drop the ball. It's not about perfection. It's about the posture of your heart, saying, I want you more than I want my sin or anything else.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope that today's service was an encouragement and a blessing to you, and we would love for you to share it with your friends and family. If you have any prayer requests, testimonies, or anything you'd like to share, send us an email at hello@verticallife.church or reach out to us on any of our social media platforms. We hope you guys have an awesome week. See you next time.